Chairing the Senate Finance Committee is one of the most powerful positions in the Senate. Any bill with a fiscal impact must get final approval from the committee, and the chair ultimately decides which bills to consider. Joining me now to talk about the budget, sports, betting, and more is the current Senate Finance Chair, Senator John Marty. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be with you.
Let's start with last week's budget forecast, which set the stage for any spending that will occur during this session. The state is projected to end the biennium with a budget surplus of $3.7 billion, but there is an asterisk because spending is expected to exceed revenue in the next biennium, and budget officials are calling this a structural imbalance. How are you viewing this latest report?
Sure. I think the way you summarized it's just right. There's money, one-time money in the bank, but then we've got to watch it because we had a big structural imbalance this last biennium, because imbalance means that you're taking in less money than you're spending. And the only way you can use up a surplus is to have a structural imbalance. So we had a big structural imbalance here because we had a huge one-time pot of money last time. We were using it wisely in one-term investments and so on. In the next biennium, overall spending is supposed to go down from this biennium. We're expecting it to go down. We're planning on it. But even so, there's still a partial structural imbalance. So we want to make sure we have enough money to cover that, because the structural imbalance makes sense when you're trying to spend the money that you've got in the bank. But it doesn't make sense on and on and on, because you can't do that. You have deficits, and we don't want to have a deficit. So what I'd say to people is it's good news. The economy is doing well, better than we expected a few months ago. It's doing well, but that's not a green light for doing all sorts of things. We made huge investments in people, in education, in healthcare, in housing, and so on last year. Let's continue what we've been doing, but let's be careful with this new money to make sure we have enough to cover in the future as we ramp down to sustainable budgets on a long-term basis.
So my next question was about one-time spending versus ongoing spending. For example, then, there has been a request for $120 million for EMS and ambulance services. Would that be a good use of the money and not, say, expanding the farm-to-school programs that would be an ongoing expense into the future?
We have virtually no capacity to do ongoing spending right now. And we don't have that much to use for the one time either, because we do need to save most of that along the way. So my pitch would be yes, among those two choices, you could use something that's one-time investments. You could not do ongoing spending. And that's what we're going to have to struggle with, because the needs, housing alone has needs far greater than we have money for. Capital investments, the state's been behind in that. Our infrastructure's gone down. We're building it up, huge investment last year. We want to keep doing that, but there's very little, and everybody thinks there's about 5 times as much as there really is.
So one proposal that I know the House is interested in would be an example of ongoing spending, and that is expanding MinnesotaCare to include a public option. MinnesotaCare is a healthcare program for low-income Minnesotans. There's a recent report on this proposal from the Department of Commerce that estimated it would be anywhere from $86 million to $364 million annually, depending on how it is set up. So considering these budget numbers, is this something that the state can afford?
I would say we can't do the ongoing spending right now, so that's not something we could do that way. And I'm not sure. I mean, I think everybody deserves health care. I want to make sure everybody gets health care. This is one that would take a small set of the public, about 3% of the public, and give them a chance to get much better quality health care. But I think that I don't think that's likely this year because of the need for ongoing money, and I'm not sure that's the best direction to go anyway in terms of getting to what I want to see, where healthcare is a right, like education is. A kid doesn't have to qualify to go to school. They don't have to have their parents have the right school insurance program. They don't have to worry about co-pays and deductibles. We want every kid to get educated. I want to make sure we have every person have a right to get health care. So that's what I'm aiming for. The public option would cover more people, but again, it is very expensive, and that's why I'm not sure it's going to go anywhere.
Well, let's talk just a little bit more about the universal health care model, because you wrote a book about it. You have been advocating for this for a long time. How could the state afford to move to a plan where everyone has health care, where it is a right, considering our current state fiscal environment.
Sure. And the way I'll respond to that is by saying that, ironically, for the last 40 years, every time we've tried to do in reducing spending on health care, everything we've done for the healthcare reform has been reduce spending. So make it harder to get, put all these obstacles and all this administrative costs. We've been doing it as a nation for 40 years. We now have done a good job at making sure people don't get too much health care. Matter of fact, 40% of Minnesotans report they delayed or denied themselves health care because they couldn't afford it in any year. And yet we're spending twice what anybody else in the world spends on health care, with very few exceptions. And so I'm arguing, let's stop all these barriers to care, because ironically, my Minnesota Health Plan proposal is one that would have the best care availability anywhere in the world. And my argument is, by having a healthcare system that is designed to provide health care, not designed to save money, ironically, I think you save money. Through the elimination of bureaucracy, through reasonable pricing and so on. I think that's what we're aiming for. And we actually got a study funded last year, $2 million, to compare a universal health care system with what we're doing now, see how much it costs, but mainly how does it do to take care of people, keep them healthier so they can go to work and take care of their families.
Since 2015, there have been proposals offered by both DFLers and Republicans to legalize sports betting in Minnesota. 38 states and the District of Columbia have done so, including all the states that border Minnesota. In a statement, you said, quote, "There has been significant debate over who should profit from sports betting. However, there has been far too little debate about the human and societal costs that would result from the largest expansion of gambling in Minnesota history." What would it take for the bill to receive your approval?
Sure. First of all, I think adults should be allowed to gamble. I'm kind of libertarian that way. Let people gamble if they want to, if they're adults. My concern is not, and anybody can. You can bet with your friends. You look around during March Madness, you look at all the office pools and everything else. You should be able to bet with friends, strangers, anybody. My one concern is when you have a predatory business coming in there and marketing to you and pushing you to do this and driving you. It has tripled the number of calls to gambling hotlines and so on in Ohio and New Jersey and other states. And when you have sports betting on your phone, you just pull out your phone any time of day or night and can bet unlimited stuff. It's highly addictive. And to me, if we're going to address this, we got to recognize that we are causing a public health crisis here. Gambling addiction is just as powerful as opioid addiction or anything else. And for suicide rates, it's worse than any other kind, because the people who've been in treatment, roughly half of them have considered suicide, and 1 in 6 has actually tried it. So if we're going to allow this, allow the predatory businesses to come in and sell to people, not people betting on their own, but somebody coming in to push it, we got to have all kinds of restrictions on it to make sure we're keeping people from addiction. The cost to the state is looking over the state budget. I keep seeing huge increases. We don't fund mental health and substance use and addiction stuff. We don't fund that nearly well enough. And that's why our prisons are filled with people with these challenges. If we're going to do this, we got to make sure the state is protected so that they don't come in, make money off our folks, and then take the money and run, and we're stuck with a big health care crisis.
We only have moments left, but I do want to ask you this last question, because you are chief author of a bill that would prohibit food stores and retail establishments from refusing to accept cash. I Googled cashless society and was treated to an array of options, both pros and cons, for why we should or should not do this. What is the impetus?
There's some of the folks who represent low-income workers, some of the unions and others have said, a lot of their people, it's hard for people. Not everybody uses credit cards. And as we go, our society is based on our federal government mints money. And it's supposed to be doing it. That's what we're supposed to be using. There are all kinds of alternatives. We want to make sure people have access to that. But for a lot of low-income people who use cash, a lot of older people who use cash, let's keep that as an option for people.
Senator John Marty, always a pleasure. Thank you.
My pleasure.